What a strange thing that Wendy Williams has been diagnosed with the exact same dementia as Bruce Willis. And when I looked at her Bazi Chinese Astrology, I was not surprised to find a hot mess of a chart and so much to unpack for you today about Wendy Williams and the crisis of her health. Welcome, this is Lydia with the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. I am so happy to see you today. So, Wendy Williams is born July 18th, 1964. We're going to adjust her time for daylight savings, 2030. And she is born, look at this crazy chart. I'm telling you. Look at this. You've got a wood dragon year, yin metal sheep month, yang earth dragon day, and the hour of yang water dog. Yes, you're seeing this. And what does this mean? Well, I've been, as we go into a new year, I'm always kind of like watching what I have already forecasted, which is that people born on the day or year of the dragon are going to feel a lot of upset. And when you find a chart that is so challenged by the zodiac animals and the way that they're interacting, this is a chart of somebody that it's like it's just a battle. Now, when you look at the flavor of Wendy Williams, this is nobody that comes out soft and sweet. She is spicy and she comes off, she's said some very inflammatory things to people. Now, some of that, you have to wonder if this wasn't a sign of the frontal lobe dementia in its early stages, saying erratic things and thinking that you know what you're talking about, right? Because you're not aware, obviously, that you've got this condition. So if Bazi Astrology is new to you, it's something that you're interested in, please subscribe and follow. Love my super subscribers, keeping me here. And I welcome your comments, questions. Please keep it positive. When I love to cover the astrology of celebrities, because it really does help us to understand our own lives and our own charts. I recently did a Bazi astrology of somebody that has dragon and dog in their chart. So, this isn't just celebrities. It is our own charts. It is what's going on in our own lives. And, she's born the year and the day of the dragon. When we have this situation, in certain instances, this shows up for her as a self-punishment. It shows somebody that gets frustrated easily with themselves, like they have like an internal battle. And in addition to that, the tendency to be very closed-minded, like a fixed mindset. And when you look at some of the things that she's been known to say, it's not very open to, gay people or this kinds of people or that kinds of people, not very inclusive in her comments and the things she's talking about. And, was this early onset dementia? Or is this just her personality, right? Anyway, so there's that. We've got somebody who for decades has had thyroid issues, lymphedema, Graves' disease. All of this is explained in the fact that this woman has all earth animals in her 4 pillars. And then when you have the luck cycles roll in, and the luck cycles are going to then bring in new energy. When a luck cycle comes in and aggravates an already complicated situation, then we've got a problem. And that's what's happening. So if we just wind it back a little bit, all right, just a little bit. Let's go back to 2010. Now, she at this point is 2 years into her luck cycle, she's 2 years into her TV show, the Wendy William show, that ran until 2021, barely, right? Barely. Probably after COVID, it really kind of fell apart because her health was falling apart, because she was falling apart. This was a yang fire rat, and the rat is her life pillar. The rat speaks of why she's here, and she's here to prosper. She's here to be a wealthy woman. But it's also, how does she look at money? How does she manage her money? It's all about that relationship to what does it mean to be wealthy? What does it mean to be abundant? What does it mean for her to feel successful? And even if it says, yes, you have a life that in which you could achieve great success and wealth and enjoy a really luxe lifestyle, it can also be a situation where your life pillar is saying, these are the things that need to be evaluated. These are the relationship that you have to the concept of a luxe lifestyle, for instance. And so it's important to recognize that 2010 to 2020, which was her last really vibrant time of her life, and this is tragic. This woman's 59 years old. We're not talking about somebody that's old, right? This woman should technically still have 20 plus years ahead of her. And she doesn't. So it's so sad, but there is over 50% of her chart is her own element of earth. That is the pattern of this chart. It is excessive. There's barely any fire nourishing her. And a balanced amount of metal, slightly weak water, balanced wood. But it's like the earth dominates this chart. And in fact, I'd almost call this a fake follow self. It's too yang. It's too earth. It's like a mountain range. Impenetrable mountain range. As far as like looking at it as the 5 elements, like for instance, if this was water, I would say it's like, a tsunami. All of these conditions that she has been struggling with are because of her inflated earth element. Now, the physical body, because the 5 elements in Bazi Astrology also coincide with traditional Chinese medicine. So when we look at the elements, and this is something I personally love doing, is analyzing the elements in relation to the things that we struggle with in our health. So when we are looking at this, when an element is too inflated, it's like that those systems and organs of the body are overwhelmed. And when an element is too weak, those elements can sometimes give up or have chronic issues. Now, the fact that she has next to no fire could suggest mental struggles. It could cause circulatory issues. That could have something to do with the swelling of the legs with lymphedema. And you're also looking at mental health, heart health, circulation health. All the energy is in her body is focused on this earth that is just too strong. Okay. So during this time of 2010, when there is all of this going on, she has relationship issues with her now ex-husband, Hunter, and she even filed for divorce in 2019. You ready for this? It's like, seriously? What was 2019? The year of what? The ox, I believe, was 2019. And April is the month of the dragon. You see how the way that life flows for us, sometimes it's like we're just walking straight into the storm. Because why? It's all we've ever known, right? I mean, the aligning of all of that. You know what? It was the year of the pig. It was the year of the pig because I'm pretty sure it was the year of the pig because 2020 was the year of the rat. 2021 was the ox. Sorry, thinking out loud. But the fact that it was April, as soon as I saw April, I was like, well, that makes sense. All right, so. And the interesting thing is that the pig, 2019 being year of the pig, brought up issues with infidelity and her health. So that is interesting. And it also brought up challenges and struggles with her career. And she was having to take breaks from filming her TV show because she was having so much weakness and fatigue from the Graves' disease. And so we move from this time of the rat, 2010 to 2020, in which she could have been, what was forecasted was that she was going to be prospering, traveling, living that luxe life, enjoying good health. And the yang fire is there giving her all of this, woo, here comes the fire, which is very good for her because it reinforces that earth dominance. There's no way to balance this chart. No way. And, you know, all that fire, you're going to say, yeah, that's a great thing. It's supporting the pattern. It's supporting her own self element, but it's too excessive. So the fire, when in this special chart, in this situation, I would almost see the presence of fire as inflammation. This is where, you know, the rubber hits the road. This is too much happening in her chart. And the rat harms the sheep in her month and damages that water presence. There's just a lot happening in here. Remember, in her birth chart, those two dragons are fighting with the dog. This shows somebody that literally it's like their career is a battle for them. They bring their A game. They're loyal and true. They are good work ethic, trying their best, steadfast, and, you know, loyal and true. They make money from varied projects, whether it's being, you know, a guest on a TV show to writing a book, to her talk show, to being a disc jockey and all the other things that she's been. She brings herself into the arena, absolutely, because her life is her arena. And I've talked about this so many times. So many politicians and celebrities have their own self-element as very inflated. Big, huge ego. And it can also just be everybody is in my world because I don't have the ability to really see beyond it, right? There is a spicy element to what she brings to her work, like a rebel, like a diva, like I am going to bring all of my creative energy into this and make something unique. And in her career are legal challenges. Now, all this being said, this is someone who is, I would almost say, hyper creative, hyper innovative, hyper dependent on others, and so brilliant. She is really a creative genius. I almost wonder if she would have done better to have been a musician, to have channeled this creative energy in a different way than she did. But here it is. Where she is now. Yin fire, ox. Great. Just bring on the last earth animal into the mix. Now she's got the dog, the dragon, the sheep, and the ox. It is like the mountain range just expanded, and now the ox is battling the sheep while her dragons have been busy battling her entire life with her dog. This entire thing shows a massive earth punishment or penalty. And this is where typically, and she has a semi-punishment of the dog and sheep in her chart, but now it's full blown. And this is where things like her guardianship and who's taking care of her, her family, her now dissolved marriage, her now dissolved career, everything is a giant stress. And all of it is weakening her, which is very weird to say, because how can you weaken somebody that is easily over 50% her own element, right? And if it takes a massive amount of wood or water to break this pattern, I don't think that's it. I'm wondering if, exactly how this plays out, but I think next year, the year of the snake being yang fire, is going to be more inflaming for her in her condition. I'm also curious about Bruce Willis's chart in relation to hers, that he has the same diagnosis, but I definitely know he doesn't have this chart. So there is a lot happening right now. And also the yin earth speaks of a new identity. And I've talked about how we see this with actors playing different roles. In this case, 2020, when this luck cycle began, I'm thinking this is when the dementia really started to reveal itself. And it's like, it's not so much that she's finding a new identity. It's that perhaps she's losing her identity and no longer can identify with herself. For instance, you look in the mirror, do I know this person anymore? And this is from 2020 to 2030. This is the journey. It has just begun. There is talk of money, and we know that there's all kinds of issues with Wells Fargo freezing her account, which is crazy, right? The world of wealthy people, my God, it's like beyond what anything we could comprehend. So there's this, the money is talked about, her property is talked about, and her health is talked about. Now, all of those things should be positive, except for the fact that the ox is battling the sheep and all of these other challenges happening in her chart. So it's like, can we glean any positivity out of this? Probably not. And then you add to that there is an undercurrent, this entire luck cycle, this entire decade of change. Radical change. And I have a feeling that by the time she may arrive at 2030, she will be unrecognizable to herself and to the people around her. And that is tragic, if she even makes it that far. This chart is so embattled. And I would imagine when 2020 began and she was in the beginning of this new luck cycle, it's just all got that much worse. And nobody wants that for anyone ever, right? That was a big read. And thank you for sticking with me. I hope that you did, because when you go through the full chart, you get the full story. I don't know about you, but I love a good story. I am a storyteller. And the Bazi Astrology gives me a very unique way of telling a story. And if you're interested in your own Bazi Astrology chart, get the written one, because that's where I can write the chart for you. Now, I know it's cheaper to get a 1 hour sit down with me, but you don't have that tangible thing to refer back to over the years. So anyway, till next time, friends, blessings and be well. Thank you.